Richard Hanna is on the line.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thanks.
Good. Are you in our nation's capital?
I am in my office in Washington, 319 Cannon. Come and visit.
We will. That's a great invite there. And did you watch any of the GOP debate last night?
I did. I watched about an hour and a half of it, maybe, and that was it.
Yeah, we had many criticisms about the way that the debate was handled by the network, CNBC, and I don't know if you felt the same way, that some of the questions were a bit ornery last night.
No, I agree with that. I think they look for conflict, they look for discourse, and try to foment some kind of opportunity to make news, but why should that surprise anybody? That's what they do.
Right, exactly. And also big goings-on today with the Speaker of the House vote. How do you feel about that?
It'll go fine. In the caucus yesterday, Paul Ryan won handily, and today I think he'll even pick up more votes. So by noon today, Paul Ryan will be the new Speaker of the House.
Very good. I know Mr. Boehner, leaving that job, was saying he had a plan afoot to try and solve our debt problem here in this country. Is he going to go through with that?
Well, he is, and yesterday we voted for the budget, and unfortunately to raise the debt ceiling over the next 2 years, and took a lot off the table. We were facing on December 11th another defunding of the government, which I've never supported. We were one of two last time who voted against the government shutdown. It cost tens of billions of dollars and laid off hundreds of thousands of people and then paid them their wages. So nobody benefited. Their last year's bills, I know people object to raising the debt ceiling. I object to having to do it. But if you want to ruin the full faith and credit of this country, raise interest rates for every American, and do something we've never done, default on a single dime, we don't want to do that. We are not a deadbeat nation. We need to get our costs under control in this country. We need to do it right away. But failing to pay last year's bills is no way to go about it.
Congressman Richard Hanna joining us on the Talk of the Town at 100.7 FM WUTQ.
Congressman, I know there's been talk, and one of the articles coming out this morning in the OD, highlights Rome Labs and the alignment and the base realignment and closures not taking place, which is a good thing, but still some.
And we work on that every day.
Right.
We have been successful in securing DFAS, the bill-paying arm of the Army, hundreds of employees there. We met with the acting director yesterday of Rome Labs. It's something that's absolutely on our plate and a constant concern. We are always engaged. And the good news is, with the budget passing yesterday, in spite of what some people may say about it, it will make it a lot easier to pass the National Defense Reauthorization Act, which secures Rome Lab and increases their budget. Every year I've been there, Rome Lab's budget and the relevance of Rome Lab and the work they do there, not just world-class, but increasingly important to the security of the nation and the world, and people know it now.
I know some other legislation that's near and dear to your heart. You and I were discussing it with my wife Beth there. We ran into you 2 weeks in a row, by the way, at Utica Bread. Great to see you back here.
Great place to get fresh bread. There's nothing better,
Yeah, it was really good to see you. And I know we talked a little bit about the Zadroga Act in honor of James Zadroga, the New York City Police Department officer who died of respiratory disease following 9/11 there. And that's an act that I know is near and dear to your heart. What's the latest with regard to that?
And we had, including our own very capable Chief Brooks, and 80 other volunteers from the district went down. They spent time there, and the Drogo Act basically monitors these people and guarantees them and their families benefits should they suffer injuries due to the exposure to toxins and the whole rescue, recovery, and cleanup operation. And it expired October 1st. It'll be unfunded October 2016, and we need to reauthorize it. We owe these people. Over 50,000 people responded to this, and we have an obligation to these people. And I'm working with Congressman King in New York and others to get this reauthorized.
Yeah, and it is a sad situation. I know my wife's brother is a firefighter down in New York, and they had a scare recently with an injury that he had in his chest there, found out it was okay. But some of these firefighters and police officers who were involved in the situation in 9/11 aren't finding out about some of these health issues until today.
That's right. A lot of these things that take a long time to develop, things like asbestos, you can be exposed to it and not see problems for years later. But we owe these people, and, it's just one of our obligations that I think this country has to meet. I want to say something else, too, about yesterday's, for our district, there are a lot of people on Medicare. And this bill that we signed yesterday prevented a 52% Medicare Part B premium increase by maintaining the hold harmless provision. People who are on that know that. So this bill yesterday that I signed, voted for, went a long way towards helping seniors in our community.
Yeah, I know that was a topic that came up last night in the Republican debate as well. I know Mike Huckabee, I was searching for the one in my memory banks that advocated quite a bit for seniors' rights last night on the stage there at the debate.
Well, it's true. People have expectations of the government. The government has obligations. Social Security's in trouble. We have the most expensive Medicare system in the world, or medical system in the world. We need to deal with that, and they call them entitlements. But we also have obligations, and it's a difficult thing to navigate. I think that people have to be realistic, but we need to find every possible way we can to reduce our debt and deficit of this country, and that's what we're working on. But it isn't easy because 10,000 people a day sign up for Social Security and Medicare, and that isn't going to change for some time. So, when Social Security was started, there were 30-something to 1 in the 1934-3 when it started. And now there's 3 to 1. So, and it won't be long to be 2 to 1. These are difficult problems, and, bumper sticker solutions that suit people's anger are not relevant in this environment. It's much more complex, requires a lot more thought, and frankly, it requires a lot more compromise.
We're talking with Congressman Richard Hanna on the Talk of the Town, 100.7 FM, WUTQ.
Congressman, I know something you were pushing for last month, and maybe an update, the Fitzpatrick nuclear plant out in Oswego.
We haven't. We're waiting to hear. I expect that we'll know something very, very soon. We thought by the end of this month, which, of course, is tomorrow, effectively. But I was out there. There were I'd say there were 1,500 people at that rally. I was there with Congressman Katko. It is an important facility. It's been hurt by the fact that natural gas is so inexpensive right now relative to nuclear power. But we have over 600 jobs there, and there are thousands of homes and thousands of people that depend on those very high-paying jobs, or at least very solid middle-class jobs, technical jobs. And we're out there fighting to keep that place open. Gas may be cheap today, but it may not be that way in the future. And we think that they have an obligation to keep that place open for a longer period of time, at least to help people transition. And it would be devastating to that whole community, not just the county of Oswego, which I represent a large portion of, but the entire region.
All right.
And they're about 5% of the state's power. So,
Congressman, another topic that's being kicked around, the Congressional Accountability Act. Can you give us your thoughts and views on that?
It's always good to have people more accountable rather than less. We've supported it at every opportunity. I support term limits. If there's one thing you learn I've been in business for 35 years, I work every day for small businesses and large businesses in our community. That's the number one thing I focus on, is trying to grow our economy. And we have a class of politicians in this world that, frankly, often it's all about them. This job should be done by people who come, serve, and go home someday. And I believe that, having been here for almost 5 years, I believe it now more than ever, that this job is much about the individual that holds it, and it should be nothing about them. It should be about the opportunity to serve, the opportunity to do the right thing. And frankly, we ought to be more tolerant generally of people who speak differently, because the orthodoxy from both parties, Democratic and Republican, stifles open, honest, comfortable debate. We have a lot of ideas in this country, and everybody has a right to speak them thoughtfully without being condemned or being criticized, as long as they do it in a deliberate and polite manner.
Congressman, you're doing a great job of representing us there in Washington, D.C. Beth and I hope to make it 3 Saturdays in a row, bumping into you at Utica Bread this coming Saturday.
Well, I go there every time I'm home.
I know.
There's nothing better than fresh bread, and I'll bet you it's been that way for thousands of years,
For sure. Thanks for your time, Congressman. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the opportunity.